do a bit of recap on what we did last week. So last week we just started with the HTML CSS. So which I believe everybody already know. Then we talk about the responsiveness, talk about accessibility. The accessibility part is what a lot of people are missing. Let me give you an example. In the past, when you are developing a website, nobody cares about if somebody is a blind person, or somebody is a deaf, or somebody is a whatever. But nowadays, people care so much about all those people now. Because even in the US, you can be penalized and penalized a lot if you don't actually give preference to the visually impaired people and people that are not really good in society. So, but in Nigeria, we don't really care about all those things. So, whether you are blind for your life, nobody cares. But we care because we don't want to build a website that nobody will be able to use, or maybe only people. For example, you can see that in Nigeria now, if somebody is blind, many of them can do online class when they are blind. You understand? How many of people now can come to your company now and say, I want to book a flight all by myself, and they use their screen reader to book a flight? How many of them? There are only a few of them. So because the way we develop our website, we don't pay attention to a lot of things. So, and that's why the last time we talked about semantic HTML. So semantic HTML is the one that would allow the screen reader to know that, okay, this is exactly what I mean. So if you say, instead of you to be using div, span, if you use header, so the header knows that, okay, I'm already in the header. It knows. So that's what we treated last time. So if you have a semantic HTML, you have like something like header. So the header knows that, okay, I'm a header. So what the header means is that whenever somebody that is having that is partially blind, or someone that is not blind or maybe blind, is using the screen reader. Screen reader knows that they are in the header, and they can easily know that, okay, they are in the header. You understand? So whenever they get to the main, they know that, okay, this is the main body. Whenever they're in the navigation, they know, okay, this is navigation. Whenever they're in the footer, they know. So that's why the semantic HTML is very important. That's what we treated. I think that was Thursday. So then we move to accessibility, web accessibility, like I explained. That's very important. Sometimes when somebody is deaf, how do we relate with people that are deaf that want to use our website? Do we have a sign language installed that can help them to browse to our website? For example, let's say you understand, a blind person, a deaf person wants to come to your website now and say, okay, I want to watch your videos. Deaf person cannot hear, and you are selling a course. How can you sell a course to somebody that is deaf? You understand? But if you can configure your site in such a way that there can be a lot of sign language that you can hide there, so that when that thing is talking, something is showing sign to them. So from the video they are watching, they are able to get one of it. You understand? So that's one of the reasons why a lot of things in Nigeria today are not done, because people don't actually consider those people as part of the web. But if you try it out in the US, you can be penalized. So accessibility, just like when people are coming to the airport and they don't have wheelchair. So how do you believe that everybody that will come to the airport to board a flight? So even in all this Uber, supposed to have all this taxi, supposed to have like people that they want to board Uber or whatever, and they cannot from their house, they can take their wheelchair and they can clip it directly into the car and stick comfortably.
Yes, now.
You understand? Same thing is what we are talking about now in web. We call it accessibility. So every website should be accessible. For example, I was trying to check out my website for accessibility the other day, and I went to this plugin to check for accessibility. You understand? When I tried it out, that was in, I think it was 5.2 or whatever. It was in 5.2 when I checked it out.
5.2%.
Yes, 5.2 over 10.
Wow.
Okay. So I realized happening here now, 5.2 over 10. It's now begin to give me a lot of things, like about the contrast error, alert error. You can see. So now you can see that that's now it's checking you about, okay, look at this one now. It's an image. An image must have alternative. Yes. You understand? That means if an image is not going to show, tell somebody that, okay, somebody is washing clothes, or this is a company's logo. You understand? So that image are part of the things that we have to consider. So when you are building your website as well, you have to make sure that your tests are very legible. You do your contrast, and these two colors are going together. You can see. So I took my time to fix a lot of things here. So everything here, you can see that I took my time. So if you look at it now, it tells you that okay, area hidden. So area hidden means that you don't want it. So this was just like illustration. You don't want it to like talk about it. Just let it go because it's illustration. So you talk about the headers and H2. You can see now it's H2, the second level. So all these things help you to position your website in such a way that is positioned for international opportunities. If you want to sell something to someone that is international, you just look at your website and, look and scan. They will run it through audit and look at it and feel like, oh, we can't use this website because why? The website is not accessible. So all these things are kind of the reason why a lot of people lose opportunities that you don't know. So area label, we have the what does this label carry? So we have to know all those kind of areas. That's why I said if somebody web itself will take like 3 months to learn 3 months on its own to learn HTML, CSS, without JavaScript. Or let's say the three of them will take not less than 3 months because there are a lot of things to unpack only in HTML. Even if you are doing only HTML alone, it will take you up to like 1 month to be able to understand it better. So all these things that are the things I did by myself. Not that I'm teaching people, but I went back to my own website and made sure that my site is compliant. The body WCAG, that is a web content accessibility guideline. So that the one that guides you as regards to what you're supposed to do, what you're supposed to do. So those are the things that we talk about the lifetime, talk about the area and all those ones like that. So all these things now, that if somebody that is blind comes to my website now, they won't have any problem navigate. You can see area label, Twitter, area label, Facebook. So all these things are very, very important so that they know that okay, this is home, this is representation. So all these things are the kind of things that we talked about the last time. So these ones you cannot get it in all this wuru that people are teaching people up and down. You understand? A lot of classes online and everywhere, but you can only get all these details where you are able to take you through the fundamentals of HTML and all those ones like that. They are very important. So I did it for my own website. So when I will go to my website right now, you can see that they are accessible. Even if you log into your own portal as a learner, if you set up your voice recorder, you can use the keyboard to navigate all your functions without mouse. You can use keyboard to navigate everything very well. So those kind of things that we call semantic HTML. So the part of things that we talked about the last time, talk about accessibility, we talk about the area role and attributes. You understand? So talk about the area role and attributes, and we compare these two websites together. So this particular website and this one, what is the difference? This one has a label that says this is the main content. So that means whenever someone that is blind is coming to your website, he already knows that okay, I'm on the main content. Then when they're on a link, they know that okay, this link is home. Let me show you. I think I have okay. They know that this link is home. They are on the home link. Finally, so this link is home. They know that okay, this link is home. They already know that the link is home. So there's no need for them to say, oh, okay, where am I? Where am I? So all those kind of things are things that we have to pay attention to. They are very, very important. So if you miss that part, just say, don't worry, B20 can help to develop a website. You can only design a website for someone that does not know website. So if you want to develop application for banks, you know what banks does? Bank has this kind of tool that they used to do auditing. Like they will audit all the life of your application. They will test it for maybe there's a closing tag, there's an opening tag. They will test it for so many things. I think there was a time we were developing the application for a Union Bank, Edu 360, when I was still working with Atantia. So if you see, they up to keyboard everything, they tested, they audited everything, they wrote a very big report for us and say, go and fix this. If you want that HTML, now you get what I read this one. So if you are planning to target a big client and not just help me to develop something, then people need to go back to the fundamentals. With fundamental, which is like the HTML from the beginning, starting from HTML5. So that brought about this semantic HTML and whatever. So talking about the area and WCAG and other ones like that. So we talk about that one. Then we left that part. We talk about responsive design. So before Bootstrap and all. No, after Bootstrap, I think Bootstrap was one that came helping us with responsive design at that time. I think then it was difficult for us to, and that was when phone was first coming up. It was difficult for people to actually use subset on phone because they are always coming to the side. You have to be scrolling, which is very, very difficult. So I think Bootstrap came at that time to rescue the mission. But at a point, browser now has a support for responsive design by creating what we call Flexbox and Gridbox. So Flexbox is pretty much the same way of building, but this one arrange things in a more linear way, while grid arrange things in like a matrix, like a grid, no a grid, like a pet. So that's the difference between the two of them. We talked about this one the last time as well. So then after that, we move from that, we talk about JavaScript. So JavaScript, talk about the structure of JavaScript, a programming language. We talk about data types here. Talk about data types. Talk about we have done this one. Data types: the integer, the float, the string, the boolean. Talk about the null, the undefined. Difference between undefined, difference between null. We talk about objects. We talk about array. We talk about array of objects. We talk about functions. We talk about conditional operators. We talk about the comparison operators. Talk about a lot of things here. That was last week. So all this one is just for you to prepare our mind for all this. Then we talk about DOM manipulations. So how can we manipulate DOM? We talk about document object model as like a family, it's like a tree that tells us about the relationship between the head up to the footer. How can we traverse? Traversing means that you are going from one point to another point. So how we traverse from the parent, just like we are like a family now. We have a great grandparent. Great grandparent now give birth to children. All the children now have their own children. So you know all those family tree now. So that's the way the DOM object looks like. So in the midst of all those noise, how can we actually target the particular element? Then we talk about ID, we talk about class. We said an ID is something that identifies you unique. For example, your phone number is unique. The whole of Nigeria is using your phone number. Nobody in the whole of Nigeria is using your phone number. You understand? So what you can also see now on the screen, you can see that we have caption. You understand? We have caption. What does that caption do? That caption is part of accessibility. So accessibility means that even though somebody is here and is deaf and they're on this call, what can they see? They can still see the caption. So they can still see the caption of what we are doing, of what I'm saying right now. If they're looking at my screen now, they will see the caption. You understand? All these things are things that you are not going to find normally on normal people that are doing all these LMS. So for us to be able to understand accessibility very well, like I'm saying the other time, look at what is happening right now here now. We're having a caption. That means everything that everybody is saying on this call, everybody can read it. So that's the part of accessibility too. So a lot of all these people that are doing online, that's why we're saying that people should come and use LearnCast, not for the purpose of all these things. It's for the purpose that learning should be sweet. So when we are in school, we complain that Aida was teaching us in one way, HOD was because there's no proper way of learning. They took one handout and they used that handout for 10 years to teach everybody.
More than 10 years.
You
More than
understand?
10 years.
And they never took us to lab to say, look at, okay, this is how to run Java. The only day we went to go and learn Java, we still get there, they don't know how to run the Java. We're disappointed. So imagine now that we are complaining that traditional education is bad, but now online class now is also getting worse because it's not regulated. Everybody just come in, set up their classes and say they are doing class and whatever. People are doing classes on Telegram, collecting money from people, teach them.
Just collecting money, they are just collecting money from
and the
people.
teaching has vanished because there's no classroom. You can't log into your portal to say, okay, yes, let me see what I've learned before. Let me go back there. Okay, let me see. I'm sorry, I'm even busy. Let me go back and rewatch those videos that I've learned and see.
The video that imagine nothing like that.
So people go on Telegram and they begin to waste time and collect their 5,000, 10,000. They carry them together, about 100 of them. They teach them, they collect their money, they vamoose. Then they come back again and do all those ones. So if you are continuing in that kind of learning, that means at the end of the day, the online learning will also be the same as traditional learning that we escape from.
Yes.
So that's why I am encouraging people that people should use a proper LMS to structure their course. Even if it's 5,000 course, take your time to plan your course very well. And also give people that are visually impaired and other people have accessibility. And that's what we have done on LearnCast. So if you are, for example, now on LearnCast, now if you are a blind person now, your lesson is automatically converted to audio. You don't need to, the trainer does not need to upload the audio. We have done it by ourselves by putting all the audio there.
Automatically.
So, yes. So when the person comes to that course, they can actually see. So the person just need to enable accessibility. Let me show you how it works. So you can see my screen. This accessibility now you can see. So if you go here now, it will show you this one you can see. So accessibility is this one. So if you are dialectic, You can just put it, I'm dialectic, you can enable it, then you see that the font will change. You can see the font has changed to dialectic font. So if I want focus mode, this focus mode now, that means for focus mode, I don't want this one to distract me. Whenever I put my cursor here, that's where I will see all these things. You understand? That's my focus mode. If I want to assist it, if I want screen reader optimization, I put it here like this. You understand? What's my problem? Am I visually impaired? I will say, okay, I have low vision. So all these things that are looking at right there, that is now, you can see you have low vision. How did I want your test to be? I want it to be extra large. You understand? How many websites do you want to go that have all these things? There are only a few of them that have all these things. You understand? So, but what we are talking about is that when somebody is doing all these things, we have to know that, okay, these things are very, very important. That we have to understand the fact that we can set contrast, we can do all those ones. So when we are building, you can see, so you can set your contrast. So that means that if somebody is visually impaired right now, you can see when they get to this place now, they can celebrate it. So the website is already optimized for accessibility. You can see. So extra large and default whatever. And if you don't want, you can just go back and turn off your accessibility. You understand? So these are kind of things that are very important when you are developing your website. So don't be selfish. Don't be selfish to say, what it concern me? Share, I get family, where get this one. So if you are, so all these things you have set in here now is what will now determine your in the learner's classroom if they will get audio or not. So if you say, okay, you are blind, then automatically the course will be converted to you for audio. So that means that on the course you can now have some audios to listen to. You understand? So these are kind of things that we call accessibility. So they are very, very important. So not to digress, let me digress back and go back to my DOM. You understand? So I said DOM, I'm just trying to let you know what we have built. You understand? So that's why I'm encouraging people that say, come and use Learncast. You have to prepare good courses for your students. So in Nigeria here, people just collect your money and just go. They don't care if you actually learn anything or you don't learn anything. Sometimes you get to the portal and the portal is gone. You don't even know where the portal is. So, but in Learncast, we don't do all those ones. So we make sure that everybody on Learncast actually get value for their money, even though they are using it for whatever. You get value for your money. So now let me go back to my teaching assistant. So now the DOM is like, so how do we relate with our DOM? So I talk about the ID. I said the ID is your identity. Nobody in the world can have your phone number. Nobody in Nigeria can have your phone number. Otherwise, it will be having some interference. So that means that we have an ID. The ID is what? Something that uniquely identify you. Then what is a class? A class is me and you now. We came from the class, computer science department, 2012 class, right? So that means if they are calling 2012 class computer science now, you are going to feature inside. You are going to be there. So, but if you want something, so that means that if we have learned in the past, we have learned objects and we have learned array of objects. So what we did here now is that I did something here the other day, trying to let this guy know. I think people that were on the call the other day, we were trying to do some JavaScript stuff. Where I said, when you are doing something like this, let me JavaScript. So we are doing something the other day about JavaScript, and I said, okay, we are doing something like get element by ID. This one will give you a single object, the way it is right now. But if you are now doing query selector now will give you array of objects. Why? Because you are targeting a particular class. So if you are targeting a particular class, you are expecting to get a lot of arrays. So it's not going to be one, it's going to be a collection. And that is why it's important for us to learn our data structure and data types. So that you know that, okay, if I fetch get attributes by ID, it gives me one thing because it's unique. If I do it by class, don't expect to get one thing, except even if it's one thing, the class will always give you a collection. And if you give it a collection, you know that they will come as an array of objects that you can later loop over. You understand? So we explain that. Then we now, after that one, we now went straight into AI power assistance. So we now say, okay, now that everything has changed in this modern, people no longer write code completely. They use assistive coding agents, right? We talk about cloud code, and now cloud code can help us to write a lot of our code. And the thing about AI is that AI is like garbage in, garbage out. It doesn't have sense. If you say AI help me to develop a website, it won't pay attention to your accessibility. It won't pay attention if it's HTML4, HTML5. It won't pay attention to any of those things. all it will do just to help you to create a website. So if you don't give details and say, okay, I know, give me a modern website, even if you say that, it will still not give you what you are looking for. So now, what we now say is that how can we now make AI to be our coding assistants? So the other day, I went to my cloud account and I did an example in my cloud account. So, and here it's very important for us to talk about AI. People talk about AI a lot of times, and oh, what is AI? What is AI? People thought it's like AI. Please, what am I going to eat tomorrow? They thought that's what AI is meant for. Oh, AI. My boyfriend broke up with me. What should I do? AI. My wife did not greet me yesterday. What does that mean? So, if that's what we are looking at AI as AI, what AI can do, we're already kind of missing out on a lot of things, right? So if you look at what we have here now on Learncast, all this thing you're looking at now, this AI assistance now, is what I'm using AI to do. I'm using AI to generate my course plan. And if I need AI assistance, I can ask more questions from AI. I can say, okay, AI assistance, come here. I want to ask you some questions. You understand? So these are questions I asked the AI the last time. I asked him to give me example of a flex box, you can see, an example of a grid. So that's what AI did for me the last time that we were on this call. So what I'm doing, you can see that AI now, instead of you to be searching the internet for all these things, AI knows that you are treating this course as at now. AI can now help you to automatically give you examples of what you need for your classes. You understand? So these are the things I'm using AI to do. AI knows that you are a blind person from your assistance. It automatically converts your lessons to audio that you can listen to. You understand? AI knows that people can be lazy. It gives you a teaching plan. So you can see the way I'm using AI in my own application. So this AI I'm using is on a high level, but people use on AI. So if you understand all these things, they call it prompt engineering. So prompt engineering is a way for you to be able to tell AI what to do. That's the way you are telling computer what to do. So right now, you are telling AI what to do. So what all the things that we have done, we have learned in this place. The way we do this course is that everything that we have learned in this place, I just say, okay, AI, I appreciate you. That is beautiful. But now, help me to write everything about this one. But we cannot, okay, let's okay, for example, let's say I want to say, so you can see that, look at the, let me show you the course code. Let me show you the lesson that we are treating here. So the lesson that we are treating here is responsive design, HTML, whatever. So all these ones now is we can come to here and say, okay, AI, give me a landing page with semantic styles. You understand? Semantic styles and simple responsiveness. You understand? Using flexbox and grid layouts. So the you can say, okay, create a submit form and use JavaScript to collect the data. You understand? So this one now, you can see that at this point now, I was typing all these things out by myself. But the thing is that if you are just starting out with AI without understanding your fundamental, what I'm explaining to you here, what an integer is, what a boolean is, what a responsive design, let's see what AI will generate for us now, and you see. So you see that. So what we're trying to do now is that for every lesson that we take, we use AI to enhance it and look at what can AI do. We combine all these lessons together. You can see AI is trying to use its own front-end design skill to say, okay, let me design something out. You understand? But the point is not that HTML cannot design something out, but the point is that we have to understand the fundamentals before we say, okay, let's be doing AI. Everybody is creating their website. Oh, yeah, AI come, AI come. AI will come, it will do whatever. But the thing is that, do you understand what AI is typing there? If AI is having issues, can you solve that issue? You can see AI is going ahead right now, trying to say, okay, I'm going to create a page semantic HTML, flexbox and grid and GS form collection. What's going to do for us right now is that it's going to create for us a landing page. It's going to help us to put JavaScript there. Probably we're going to see the way when you click on the button, what happens to the form submission and everything like that. You understand? So this is how people develop websites in 2026 now. People develop these days, people don't actually type it, but the problem is, do you understand what HTML is typing? Can you make changes? So that's why we said people should go back to the fundamentals. Fundamentals is you learning all this semantic, you learning all this area, you learn all this JavaScript, arrow function, whatever. So we are still going to get there. So this one is just like the recap of the last lesson. You can see. So it's typing so many things, so many things. At the end of the day, we assemble everything as okay, I've done it. But it's not left for you to say, okay, what this AI I've done? No. So do I want to make changes? Do I want to? So you can everything they can do can be done with AI. Understand? Type you a message. Look at what it's doing now. I didn't ask him to do all these things. So yeah, so overdone syllabus, everything I don't even ask him to do. I just say land page. You understand? So the problem now
Yes.
is that we'll now go through it now and see if we can identify some things inside it. And that will be like our guide to say, okay, I actually understand what this AI is typing. So AI can do a lot of things in this day. We should not be ignorant that AI is powerful. But despite the fact that AI is powerful, we still have to be very careful, very, very careful in using AI to solve all our problems.
Yes.
So we still have to be able to say, okay, if AI crash tomorrow, AI service is down tomorrow, I can still develop a website. I can still do, you can see render the page now. So everything we render now, you see what this guy is going to render for us now. So that is the power of AI in today's
Mm,
world, where
mm,
AI can help you to build the website very fast, can do a lot of things for you so quickly and so rapidly. You understand? So it's rendering.
mm.
But let's go and see if we can copy the code. Let me see if I can copy the code. It's still rendering it. Let me copy this code and see. Coming. Let me copy this code and go back to my VS Code. So um, let me come to this place and add a file. No, oh yeah, I'm not coming here. Let me close this guy up. So I'm coming here. Let me add a file and I'll call it AI generated AI generated .html. So this is what AI is able to generate for us, right?
Yes.
So now, for a beginner who doesn't understand anything,
We just look like magic.
you understand? This looks like magic, and this is so a lot of people are bragging online. Make it. Yeah, I don't even need the developer. I'm developing anything that I want online. I don't need this one. But the thing is that AI is not cheap. You have to pay minimum of 150,000 naira a month. You understand? This is what the AI came up with now. You can see.
Yes, now to get the best.
You understand? So this is what the AI came up with. Very beautiful website, right? So now you can see it's very beautiful. Oh, this is beautiful website. Let's go ahead and preview this site. Let me see. Open with. Let me see if I can bring out the open with God I'm coming on. Okay, let me open it in this one. So you can see what AI has done for us. But the thing is that can you identify every section of this what AI is generated for us? So let's open it now and see what AI is generated for us. You can see. So this is a very beautiful page that this guy has generated for us. Open now. What happened? Okay, maybe I've not saved it. I've not saved it. That's why. Okay. Let me save it. So let me go back here and refresh. You can see this is a very beautiful website now that AI has generated for us. So that means that right now I do not need to go and be typing header, font, whatever, whatever. But the thing is that this one looks good. But the problem is that can I explain how this one is? Can I make modification to this one? And one thing about AI is that when you are making modification to AI, you didn't say what you want. It just begin to tell you a lot of shit. So let's go back here and see if we can understand what AI has done. So now we go back to our code and see what AI has done. So going back up, you see that we have our doc type, we have our so this is what they call a DOM. We have our meta, we have our title, we have our meta. So this part is the one that does responsive. Let me show you an example now so that you can understand what I'm saying. So if you go and check the viewport, so this is the viewport and say, okay, I want to see the responsiveness of this. Okay, it's responsive. Now let me go and remove this part. So this part is one of the most important part of it. If I remove this part now, this guy does not understand responsiveness anymore. So if I remove it and run it now, you can see. Did you understand it?
Mm,
You can see.
at all.
So there was a time I was trying this thing that I think I spent like, it wasn't not even up to like 12 hours on this thing. Then there was no, all this internet, whatever. I was looking for why my site is not responsive. It's because I don't
Mm,
understand the work of viewport was not my place. So if you don't understand the work of viewport, you are going to be having a lot of problems. So that's why I say fundamentals are very important. So let's say, for example, now the somebody mistakenly maybe the AI did not generate viewport. I think for responsiveness now, you are going to be there. Okay, what is happening? This AI is not responsive now. What is happening? You won't know that the AI has already generated something that is not going to work because the
mm,
width, it doesn't understand the width. Where am I? What device am I is currently using me? What's the size of the what is size of the screen. That this exactly that's this guy that does all the magic. Then you have my title. What's my title? Then now you have this one and this. So there are three ways that we can define SCSS. We can define it as relative, like external. We can divide it as relative or inline. Now the most stupid part of it is to have CSS by all the pages. It's one of the stupid decisions anybody can make. So the reason is that if you are putting HTML on each of your pages, now you realize that if you need to make some changes, you have to be going to all your pages to be making that change one by one. And that's why people use like
One
external
by
CSS,
one.
where you're going to have your this thing like something like lecture.css and now import it directly here using your link. You understand? Just the way they have done it, it's the way they have done it now. You can just say, okay, oh, you want to have like CSS and just say this one is like AI generated now. You can just say AI gen dot CSS. So you have to understand. So we can now say, okay, let's copy all this CSS now. Let's copy it from here. I'm going to copy this guy from here. Copy it to the last place. So okay, I'm going to explain all these things so that you can understand viewport and all this like that. So without you understanding all these things, they look like play. People think that it's a play. AI can generate jargons for you. So, but if you understand, no, 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 I don't like this one. Yeah, change it for me. So let me go ahead and okay, that's fine. So I'm going to copy this one from here now and remove it from here and save it. If I remove this one, nothing is going to work because it has become skeleton. You can see without CSS, HTML is just like a skeleton. You understand? CSS is the one that beautifies it. It's just like when a woman wears makeup, or when somebody put on a clothes, or when somebody kit up to go to an event. So now we are going to go to this AI.gen now, and I'm going to paste this one here, save it. Now, how do we link this one back in? We'll go back here and do our normal linking. So we do our link. Okay, that's good. So relative is called style sheet and everything is fine. Okay, so okay, you do your tab. So you can see that. No. CSS. I'm going to AI gen. Okay, cool. So now, if you save this one and run it back now, what do you have? Everything is back in state. So now you have separated your CSS from this part. So that means that if there are some classes that you want to use elsewhere, you know, we call it code usability. That means that if there are some things I want to use elsewhere, I can easily use it elsewhere. So now, what happened on this CSS code is that you can see that this is the root. What does this root means? This root is like the main design that appears everywhere on the page. People normally use it for theme. If you want to have your theme, whatever. So you have your normal this thing, then you can see now it's used as var surface. So anywhere that you have the access to the root, you can easily get access to and call it by var. So that means that you are storing your variable, your value in the variable, because you don't want to be putting a hash ff in everywhere. So you just put by your root. So you put everything there and make it make sense. That is that. Then you have your image, you get to style your element, you have your container, you have your width, the minimum width, you have your automatically calculate the width for you, the minimum for you, calculate your width based on your screen size. So you have your normal header, position is sticky. Position sticky means that this guy is going to stick. So that means whenever you are going up, anywhere you find yourself, it's going to be sticky. Always go to appear. So it's sticky. It's even from fixed. So sticky is better than fixed, because fixed we only stay in one. Let's try fixed now. You can see. So position header is sticky. Let's say we do fixed. I'm not sure if fixed has this, but let's see. Let's say we do fixed. So fixed will just be there where everybody just go under it and notice. So you can see. So fixed is just going. So it's not adapting the way you are scrolling. You understand? So that's the difference between fixed and sticky. So it depends on what you. So if you don't understand the fundamental, whatever AI gives you, you're going to use. You don't have choice. You don't have the right to do. You're just going to say, okay, what if I want to do this one? That's not prompting. At the end of the day, you realize that your money is gone. You will spend the next 300,000 to buy tokens from. I'm serious. It's not a joke. Oh. You spend the next time to buy 300 to bet, like you spend $200 is almost like how much now, sir? It's almost like 280,000 naira trying to do AI.
Yes.
You understand? At the end of the day, all you are doing is just prompting, but you don't know what you are doing. So you just prompt and build something, but you don't know what you have built. So, and that's why I said in every class that we have taken, we talk about the AI assisted coding. As you can see, So that's what I've shown you right now. I've shown you AI step coding, that we can use AI to assist in our coding. So what are we supposed to do in the right sense is that instead of us to be doing copy and pasting here, we can now go to our editor. Right now I'm using VS Code because it's very lightweight. I was using a web but that web stuff is too memory hungry. Sometimes it makes my screen to hang, and it doesn't make my lectures to be really really cool. So what happened now is that AI can understand our code. It can understand everything that we are doing. So right now, people install AI inside their code. You can see that here now, you have some models here. You have ICO 4.5 here. You have GPT 5.0 codex. They asked me to upgrade my plan. You have ChatGPT 5.4. You also have other models that you have here. You have 4.1, whatever. So I think as we are going along this course, I will be teaching you the function of those AI models. So AI models are not just created for creating sake. You understand? AI models, so people that made AI models, they didn't create AI model for fashion. They didn't say, oh, AI model is so. Each of those AI models have their own functionality. For example, if you look at IQ now, IQ, AI IQ is a model of of cloud. So cloud is made by Anthropic. Anthropic is the name of the company. They have mad money. I think they are worth over trillion dollar business now. So they
mm,
and OpenAI, they are the ones competing together when it comes to all this AI whatever. So I think Google is also trying as well. Google Gemini, Google Anti-Gravity, and a couple of other models that they have. They're also trying, but I've not used
Google
Anti-Gravity.
Whisk.
What do you say?
I said Google Whisk.
Aha. So Google has a lot of things they make, but I think the model that is powerful when it comes to UI right now has to be with Opus. Opus is the best when it comes to um design right now. You understand? So IQ is only designed for what? For one thing. IQ is designed for fast and speedy things. If you are looking for something that is complex, let me give you an example. How did we use this model on this platform? So we use a lot of AI models on these things. So now this is a course plan as a teacher. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
As a teacher on this platform, you do not need you don't need to plan any course. So if you already apply your curriculum, AI will generate this thing for you and give you examples that you can use to teach in the class. You understand? Let
Ah,
me explain a little bit. Yes. So this thing now that you're looking at here was generated by AI for me as a teacher. You understand? So that means that if I'm looking for example, what will I do? I go to
mm,
AI assistants. I say, okay, give me some example about this one. You understand? So all these ones now are generated by AI. They're generated by AI. So it helps me. So all this one now,
yeah.
IQ cannot do this one. What did I use? I use Cloud Sonnet. Cloud Sonnet is made for deep research and complex tasks. So that means even you as an AI user, if your job is just ChatGPT, you don't want to try to understand. I'm still going to have a course where I'm going to talk about AI. So the course is going to be like
Mm,
a 1 week course. So where I talk about AI models and all those ones like the capability, what they're capable of doing and things like that. So I think maybe that will really, really help people to understand
kí ló jẹ
what
báyìí?
AI are kind of doing. So there are some AI that are very good when it comes to research. That's their
Yes.
job. They are good with research. So if you go and give research to IQ or all this one Opus, they will mess everything up. So that's why they call them deep research. So they are used by PhD and all those people that normally do research, and it gives a lot of details and so many data that I can work with. You understand? So let me go back to my teaching plan. So that's
Mm,
AI. So for AI for you. So um let's go back to today's course now. So those are the things that we learned in the previous course, right? So in today's course now, we are going to go to this course and see what does today's course hold us. I'm going to rush it because I think it's still pretty much like what we have done before. So today is talking about the foundation of modern web quiz. I think we have some quiz that we have to answer. We're talking about the quiz on your portal. You can answer the quiz. So it's on your portal. You can go to your module 2. That's and answer those ones. So now today talk about the OOP. So that's JavaScript OOP. So what is OOP? Object oriented programming. You know, object oriented programming that we have taught in school. We said it models real life world. We said what? It models real life world. How does it model real life world? Because it creates a blueprint for us. And the blueprint that we have encapsulates data and property and behavior. So now, why OOP? From the normal, in the past we used to write code and everything is jam packed in one place, no organization, nothing. And some people are okay, let's model our code, and now there are a lot of different patterns that we have now. So although OOP is still the concept, but people have gone to do a lot of other architectures like data domain-driven design and ways of arranging all these objects together to interact with each other. So, but let's stick with the object-oriented programming. So, what do we call data? Data, as you know, is your age. Data, as you know, is your height. Data, as you know, can be your skin color. Data, as you know, can be academic qualification. Which school did you attend? Who are your parents? So all these things are, so that's why they said the model real life, because in real life people have properties, they have data. For example, now if I want to fill a form in the bank, they will ask me of my address, they will ask me of my account number. So all these things together, they are what form our data. But the thing is that people don't see the data, people don't see the behavior. For example, you want to withdraw money from the bank now, the ATM say okay, the ATM says okay, this is very fine. No, the ATM said okay, the ATM said okay, give me your account number, right? So you put your account number there, right? And he said press enter. That's a method. You press enter, something from the back has calculated your data and property and say okay, who is this person? Does this particular account exist? If you say okay, give me your PIN code. If you put your PIN code, someone will say okay, give me your fingerprint. Okay, okay. By virtue of these two signals, this person is the owner of this account, right? Now, you as the user, do you care about your data and the behavior and everything? You don't, because what you care about is that just give me my money. Let me give you another example: self-driving car. How many people know self-driving car works? You just carry your this thing in the US or whatever. You book your self-driving car. When you get there, you point whatever, it opens the door for you, enter. So the customer or the user does not care about how data function are being interchanged within the system. All they care about is that I shall do something and that thing works. So that's what they call encapsulation. It's a method of wrapping all your data and property together in such a way that it can be reused and it is safe and secure, and no external party can modify it. So when you are defining OOP, is that you don't want external factor to for example, somebody we talk about global scope. Global scope means that you have a variable that is called name, and I say name is Peter. Now, if I'm not careful, if I come to another and I say name, and I say name now, if I'm not careful, Peter that is a global scope will now be named in that place now. So you can say, what is happening? Somebody log in and is showing hello Peter. Peter is not the name of the person now. Why? Because I've defined a global scope somewhere that is already Peter, and that's why the Peter is overriding everything that I'm now having now. OOP will not allow that, because you are going to protect your properties, your data, and talk to them and modify them through methods. You understand? So that's not the OOP. You understand? We have been learning, not science student, you have learned all this OOP, but that's the way it works in real life. What happened in real life is that if I log into an application now, it should greet me, welcome to Mitokwe. So because the only way I can manipulate my data is through a method, it's not through a global scope or global data or global variable. And that is the part that we have to understand a lot of times. So now we go back to an analogy that we just to see it, but we say car. They say, okay, car is an object, right? Okay, car has a brake, car has accelerator, car has a whatever. When my wife was learning how to drive, did she know, even me up to today, did I know how brake works? Did I know how ignition works? I don't care. All I know is that whenever I put my car on the start and I just it will horn and I'm going out. Whenever I want to increase my speed, I press my accelerator, everything is going. Do I care about what is making it to run fast? I don't care. That's the same way that OOP tells us that, okay, we are modeling real life. If I press my brake, that means I want to stop or there's an emergency. So that is part of the OOP. So JavaScript 2 has gone to OOP. Especially when we go to years 5 and years 6, they provide us a lot of concept of OOP. And okay, we can model real life objects, we can modify our properties only through either constructor or through a behavior which we call method. So if I press brake in my car, I don't care whether there is something that price that send a message to the brake pad or somebody send message to the transmission. I don't care. All I just know is that I press brake and the car stop. So that's where the OOP is useful, because it's able to encapsulate all those functionalities and behavior and properties from the user. They cannot tamper with it because they are secure and encapsulated. You understand? So that is what OOP is. We still have a lot of things about inheritance, polymorphism, and a couple of stuff like that, but we are not going to get there at this point. So let's continue. Now, in JavaScript before, we have something we call synchronous and asynchronous programming. So synchronous programming means that something must wait. Let's say, for example, now you are counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. In the past, what will you do? You count 1 because you count 2. You can't 3 before you count 4. But in asynchronous programming, it's not like that. That means that if I have 10 tasks that I'm running on, all of them can go around the task and meet at the point. They can be running in parallel. So one of the tasks is not blocking the other. Let me give an example. Let's say I'm designing a dashboard. I want to give an analogy of asynchronous. Let's say I'm developing a dashboard now. I want to fetch total number of students. Okay, for example, let me do an example for you now. Like on this Learn class now, I have some statistics that I know that, okay, who joined the class today, I already know the people. So now, if I want to know how many people enroll in my course, I want to know how many people come for the course, and I'm building statistics data. You understand? If every one of them is waiting for each other to assemble, it's going to cost a lot of time. And JavaScript now says, okay, let's do a non-blocking. And they came with async. So now, this is an example now. They go with async and await. It's just a way for us to handle that, okay, JavaScript, you don't have to block this thread. Don't block this thread. If I'm running this code, you can still be running on that code as well. So this code, I think, if you have done a bit of Node.js, I think you'll be able to understand this thing a little bit. Like Node.js had this kind of way that I think there was a time I was trying to run Node. I was having a lot of issues with Node because I was thinking Node actually worked like normal JavaScript, and I was having a lot of issues with Node. So many issues because I was expecting that, okay, this code should run on my own. I realized that, okay, he has gone to run this one, he has come back to run this one, has come back to run this one. So that's what I think is all about. So then we have the normal ECMAScript 116, and I brought about some important. Okay, let's do one example. It said, imagine ordering a food from a restaurant. You place the order in a synchronous operation, then continue other activities like browsing the menu, chatting with friends. When your food is ready, you receive it. You understand? But in the past, you cannot do anything. You have to wait till your food is ready before you can do all these things. So now in ECMAScript, then we realize that there should be some improvements to JavaScript, because JavaScript in the past doesn't really make sense. So no OP, and everything has to be function or whatever, this like that. And ECMA 6 came with a syntax enhancement, and that's why we have list, count, arrow function, classes, template, literals, and modules. So I'm going to go ahead right now and show you an example of where I use this one. So the other day I came here and tell you about let and const. I think I use them somewhere around this. Okay. So when you have let and const, now let means that, so they are okay, let me do an example. So we have const. Let's say const pi, and we have let. Okay, yeah, that's good. So const means that a value that cannot change. You understand? So if you try to reassign this value now, you are going to get an error because it's a constant. Why do we have constants? Constants are values that can never change. Nothing will make them in this life to change. So the value is not going to change. You are going to put it in constant. So that means this thing will not change. But if you want to go from what do I to make it a variable, you have to say, okay, this particular stuff should not be let. So let now is still operates at a very local scope. I will explain it later. Difference between let and var. I will explain between local scope and global scope, but let's stay at this point. So that's the difference between let and const. So this thing were brought together by year 6. Then we have something we call arrow function. So arrow function, in the past we used to do something like this. Okay, we do something like this in the past, like let's say let's func equal to function. Yeah, so we used to do this in the past. Then in the past we used to do something like this in the past. Then we can have the arrow function now. So we can do something like this in the past and we can now say, okay, use arrow function now. So we want to use arrow function syntax. You can see. Out of that, now say that, okay, instead of you to something like this, you can make it very simple. You understand? So you can make it easy by itself. Say, okay. So you can just make it simple like this. So what's the difference between two of them? It's just syntactical sugar. They do the same thing. There's no, although when you're interacting with some object, then there's a problem they call this object. And this object now is what we can might later treat later in narrow function and normal function. So I think there's a particular this whatever disparity that is happening between them. But I think for now, this is how you define your arrow function. It's just so you don't have to arrow function anymore. Just put your normal curly brace and put your this one, you call it arrow function. They do the same thing.
Right.
But the thing is that you can put everything on the same line like this now. Although you can actually put the same thing on the same line as that on that one as well. So I can do something like this now. I can decide to not put my bracket like this. I can just do something like this, I think. Yeah, I think I do something like yes. So and this one will return this one automatically. You understand? So that's your arrow function. It's very simple and very easy to use. Not that you can do this one by that like that too, but you have to put everything here. You can see it's very ugly. So you see the same thing, but you cannot remove this return. I'm very sure. So if you remove this return, nothing will happen. So it will not return anything. Maybe you get like null or whatever. So you can see this is the ECMA 6, and we have like something we call um string literals. Like in the past, there's no way you can define multiple strings. Let's say you have like string literals now. So like string literals. So let's say now you have something that you can see. So instead of using plus to join things, what in the past you can have something like let me say name two. In the past you can just do like let name two. Okay, you can let's do multi-string. You can see, let's even do multi-string set. You can see. So in string literals, you can do multi-string. All you have to do is just to be able to put your tick at the beginning and the end. So in the past, we have to do like this. So let me do the old way. Old way. Let me put the old way. Let me see. This one is intelligent string. You can see. So in the past, very difficult. You can see. You have to be using plus, 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 plus. You know how many plus do you want to be using? So you want to concatenate. You want to set the message. Now you have to put in like plus, 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 plus together. And sometimes the plus can be money that you can make mistakes while you're trying to do it. Right now, what you have to do is to use the normal template literal and just put your dollar sign and whatever you want to put inside. It's very easy for you now to work with string list. And these are the things that ECMA 6 brought for us. So, and without knowing this now, you might not be able to know a lot of things. Even though, let's go back and look at the code that AI generated for us at that time and see what the AI does, the JavaScript part. So what did it do? You can so what did what it did now is that AI did this. Or let me check what it did. So okay, AI now did not know because we didn't tell the AI that okay AI use a arrow function. We didn't know to use our normal old function. Use your constant. I think it's still use ECMA 6. I think it's still fine. So help us to do our const error because error is not going to change. We are going to push into error. Nothing is going to change the value of error. Then we are still having our old functions, but they work. It's giving us our event listeners, our submit that listen to a button. We have different event like click whatever. Now we have our observer. What happened in the windows? That one concern the events, but we are still going to get to that in our advance. And we are going forward to talk about event listeners and custom events. You understand? So these are just kind of people doing observer listeners. How do we observe? A couple of stuff like that. So these are the things that were brought by JavaScript, like the observer pattern. But we can get to that later. But maybe are not in this part. So now, our now teaching us now telling us that okay, we are going to understand OOP, right, as a blueprint. It gave us like a blueprint of what a real world object looks like. Talking about our data. Data is our name. Data is our age. Talking about behavior. Behavior is our method. Can also be our functions too. So the thing is that we don't want to have a class where the data can be manipulated from outside of the class. We want to manipulate our data through the use of behavior, through their behavior. If I do 1 plus 1 equal to 2, so I collect two data together, that's 1 and 2. I put an operator. My operator now is a plus because they act on two operands. Two operands are like the two data that operator works on. So if you have done it sometimes before, you understand what they call operand and we call operator. Operator does work on two operands. The operands can be different data. And you realize that these operands now, the operator depends on what it can do. If you say Tade plus Shade, it will give you Tade Shade. You can't add two strings together except it's connected together. You can't say if you object plus string, you might get error. You understand? So you must understand What I'm saying to that is understand what we call data type and data structure. So what operator can work on this data structure? If I'm working on object now, number one, I know the object contains a lot of other data types. It can contain an array. It can contain different type of objects. Then I know how to work with them, because if you are working on a fintech app, like I said in my previous something, you are going to shock basic, because if customer value is 100,000 and 500 now, you want to add 200 to it now, and you as a Mugu developer, you did not check if it's a string that is coming or it's a float. You now want to go and say 100, 500 plus 200. We just give you 100, 500, 200. That's what you're going to get now. I'm very honest with you. And that way now you've already shocked basic, because if I see that balance on my this thing and bank said this, and then say, what happened? Why do you have the balance? And that's a developer makes a mistake. So in that kind of case now, you know that, okay, if the data is coming from database, it can never come as an integer. It comes as a string, you know. As a developer, you must know. That's why I'm saying that AI is good, AI is better, but AI cannot give you exactly who you are supposed to be. Who is like a die-hard developer, a hardcore developer who knows what he's doing. You understand? A hardcore developer knows exactly what he's trying to do. He knows his data. He knows the data type. So if you collect the data from a command, let's say from a terminal, they will give you string. So if it's coming from database, it comes as a string. It can never come as an integer. So what you're going to do now as a developer is to make sure that you cast that into a float. So that if you now say, okay, 100, 500 plus 200, it gives you 100, 700. Otherwise, your say will be much. Or let's even give an example. Let's say somebody is a developer now. You have like 100, 500.30. And you are now rounding it off. You are removing the decimal point from it. At the point, all the customers have lost over 10 million naira in their account, and they now call her. What's happening? My account is not balanced. Yesterday I had 10,000 here. What is happening here? Because the developer thought that every balance will be an integer. He now went to go and do normal rounding off. You understand? So that is why it's very important for us to understand our data. AI will not tell you this one. If you don't understand it, you don't understand it. So it's understanding that you used to direct AI. You understand that? So when we talk AI give us this one. So let's go back now to our this one. So we'll not talk about our class structure. Let me do copy and paste here, and let me copy and paste here. I think I'll try my best to see if I can run an example here. Okay, let me here and call it no JavaScript. Doing JavaScript. Let me call this one like OOP.js, right? So right now I've already presented this one. So this guy is a person, right? It's a simple example. In another case, it might not be a person, it might be a bank account. In another case, it might be a course. In another case, it might be an attendance. In another place, it might be car registration. You understand? Let me see if this one will actually make sense. This one will do the job. I'm going to create a class for car registration. Let me see if this one will try. Registration system. Okay. I think he's trying to make sense now. Okay, that's fine. So you can see now that this is an example of a car, right? So it's asking, okay, what's the model of the car? What's the year? So when we say OOP is not limited to, okay, let's even say attendance. Let's even say attendance. So let's say create create an attendance a class for library system. Let me say, okay, library system, you can see we have book, we get whatever. So okay, that's fine. So now, so you can see that system. So OOP is people use car a lot, they use object or whatever, but it can be anything. It can be your attendance. In your attendance, you can now have like the students, who are the students? What are they engaging in, whatever. So all these ones that what they call the OOP in JavaScript, it doesn't exist until ECMA system to say, okay, we can do all the one. So if this data now, I cannot manipulate this data until I do it through the constructor. So that means nobody can manipulate this data outside except through the constructor. You can see you pass this one inside and everything makes a lot of sense. So how you want to shape your code depends on you. If you give it to AI doesn't know if you are supposed to use OOP or not, whatever. Just say, okay, AI, help me to create something like that. It will just do it the way you like. But how do you model your application? Depends on you. Am I using module? Am I using Async? Am I using whatever? It depends on you. How you want to do your own stuff by yourself. So that's the OOP concept on the normal shell. Then we have your normal async await. So normal async and wait your stuff is like you are going to fetch from an API. You are going to fetch from an API, and what would the API do? It should go and fetch. But should API that is fetching block your application? If an API, let's say for example now something is fetching weather, so it's fetching weather now. So other things should wait on the page, Abby. Because I'm fetching weather now, everything on the page should wait. They must not wait. So that because I'm fetching weather content on this one does not mean so. That's why we have the async and wait. That means that while the page is doing other things, this one can be doing its own thing, and when it's done, we can return the data. So that's what the asynchronous comes to say. Okay, we are not going to block your thread. That means that while I'm doing this one, you can also be doing that. That's why the guys I said that I went to a restaurant now. My food is my food. I've given the waiter or whoever it is my list. Okay, I'm going to eat like lamb chops with a mashed potato. Give me chapma or give me vaginala or whatever. Then give me some appetizer before it is done. Right? While you are there, I want to call my friend. I want to call my friend. You are calling your friend. Hello, my friend. How you doing? It's been a while. We have to know your food is preparing, but you are still doing other things. I want to send money to my mommy. My daddy said he needs some medicine. You know, you are still doing so. That's what async is doing for you. He's saying that a program does not have to wait for the other ones before that one can also run. So if you see the async that way, that what I'm doing while other things are currently working, it will make your life so much easy. So these are the ways that people put things together. Even if you are doing your React or whatever, you still have to understand the code of JavaScript before you can understand it very well, because that's what will define your code. If somebody just pick up JavaScript now, I think I remember when I was doing Node, that was in 2016. I was having this, they call them callback L, because I don't understand. I think then we're using the async library. They call it async library like that. We have async parallel, async whatever. So it's a library then before ESCs that we're using to do the async. I was always trying to get value. I was not doing the callback. At the end of the day, my callback is now very long. It's not like you are pushing somebody into a wall, because I don't know how to use async. That was my knowledge at that time. But the moment I realized that, oh, there's a library called async at that time, I think they would have been even stopped maintaining the library now. So that is exactly what you have to understand as a developer or company developer. What are the tools in my arsenal I'm going to deploy to solve this problem? Even though you want to give it to AI, if you don't tell AI that AI should use async, it will not use it. If you don't tell AI that, okay, AI, I want to use a observer pattern, AI will not do it, because you have no knowledge. You don't have no knowledge of observer pattern. AI does not know. It does not know. For example, now in my code base on Learncast now, I use domain-driven design. So if we realize that, how does AI know domain-driven? They don't. If I don't know domain-driven design, nothing will happen. AI does not know either. Now, let me see if I can go to one of my code here. I will show you one of the things I did here. So I did a lot of things like security header, whatever. I did my security header, I did my whatever. If you don't tell AI to do security header, it will not do it. That's what I'm telling you. If you don't say AI do security header, AI will not do it. It will not do anything. That it will not do it. Come here, let me see. Where is this? Let's see. Should be inside services. I don't know. So I have a lot of services here, like my services, the reminders, the email, whatever. So if you don't model your application very well, you don't know what AI can never do all those things for you. It can never. So you have your constants. Let me see, as this one session keys or whatever. So my app token, my flag, whatever. 2FA. So I'm coming. Let me show you. I have my jobs here. Those are my job runners. The one that I sync my this one. Let me see. Let me go back to. So let me go back here. I think I have my repo. So if you don't tell AI that AI should do this one, if you don't have the knowledge of all those ones, you can never know anything. So you can see that if you look at my app now, you can see the way my app is structured. You can see my domain. You can see my contract. You can see my events. You can see my jobs, my notification. You can see my observers. Everything. You can see my policies, my provider, my rules, my service, my support. Everything is there because I took my time to understand what PHP and Laravel ecosystem is. That is the reason why I was able to know, okay, let me use my domain visa, because it actually worked for me. You understand? And what does it try to address? So being able to understand all these things are very, very key into understanding programming. So even in the space of AI, not understanding the fundamentals of where things are coming from will still kind of haunt you in the future, because I go to write down Jaga code. Jaga code is what I'm going to be able to write. So now, the other day I talk about what's it called? So difference between let and var, like I said the other day. So it's about block level scoping, right? So the var is the global scope, while the let is a local scope. So like that, I said, if you put a value with var up of your function, and you call that function and you call that variable directly in your this thing, it will be visible. So that means that if you put var directly in your function, somebody can still manipulate it directly outside of your function, which is not really good. So that is why you have to make sure that you make your function scope local. Make it such a way that the only way somebody can manipulate it is through the function argument. So through the function argument, that's for, let me give you an example. An example, we already have it here the other time. Let me see. So let's do constructor as an example. So when you call this class now, you are already a constructor. You can see that the only way to play this thing now is through this constructor, which can also serve as a constructor argument. You understand? So those are kind of things that we have to kind of put in place. And we talk about the DOM traverser. We already said it in the version 1. We said the DOM is like a family tree, from your great grandparents to your ancestor, to your siblings, to your first siblings, last siblings, sibling of siblings, next of siblings, first element. So all this DOM tree gives you the access to all the documents in a page. If you know, you can manipulate anything. So that's what React is doing. What React is doing is what they call it. Is this shadow DOM? What do they call it? So what they do is that they take a part of the code and quickly update it. If there's no DOM, there will be no React today. If there's no DOM, there will be nowhere to find React and other things like that, because what they are doing is just to manipulate DOM. They manipulate it, they traverse it, and quickly update the changes in a very fast way that you will not even know. So that means whenever you are typing in a place, React is binding it into another place. What it's just doing is very simple. It just say, okay, it's just calling that part and say, okay, that part, whatever change I make, it just attach the text. And that's what they are doing. They don't do more than that. So, but if you understand the DOM, you can ask, how can we modify DOM? The other day we talk about the ID. Your ID is what? Something that defines you uniquely. For example, let's say everybody is doing NIN now. Everybody is doing their tax ID now. No two people can have the same tax ID. Otherwise, I say you want to be shopping basic and be able to be paying their tax. That's the only one remains. So that means if you make a mistake on your own self, it can be in somebody's space that is going to remit your tax. How do you not tell FIR, please, I made a mistake, I paid to somebody's else account of my tax. You are going to go and find a way to reconcile with that person, so and know how to claim your money back. So that's what the ID does for you. It identifies you uniquely. That means in this HTML object now that we have this guy generated for us, AI, you can see that here now we have a class of navlink. Like I said, I say class is a group of things. It can be a fruit. A fruit can contain a guava, pawpaw, pineapple, pear, different things. That means when I'm calling fruit, all of them will follow me, right? But when I want to talk to one, I can say mango. There can only be one mango in the world. There's no any fruit in the world that is called mango, other than mango. That means that is the idea, and that's what he's saying. He's saying that we have something we call get element by ID. That means I'm referring. So when you get element by ID, what do you get? What do you get back? And that only let us back to our data types and data structure that we talked about in the beginning. And we say, if you know your data type, that's not very well, you'll be able to understand. When you do that one, what does it give you? Does it give you a collection? Does it give you an array? Does it give you an object? Does it give you an array of objects? So if you know your type very well, you know, okay, if I call a class and everything gets a collection, that is maybe an array having different items inside that can later that as well. But if I'm calling an ID, I probably get a string back, or I will get an HTML element, which is also like a class, depending on how we are able to do it. So those are the things that we understand. That introduce that is called query selector. What does query selector does? Query selector does, instead of us will be saying, okay, ID. Sometimes we want to talk to it like a CSS. Where we are saying, okay, I want the first object. I want the second, I want the descendant, I want whatever. So query selector now say that okay, you can instead of to be saying, okay, can't remember ID, I can just say okay, query selector. Now I can just say okay, query selector hash the ID dot the highlight. I can also okay, I want to find the next descendant, I can say plus P. That means any direct descendant of that highlight should be given to me. All of them will come. I can do whatever I want to do with them. Okay, change their color, change their background, whatever. So that's what they call DOM traversing. To be able to, that's what we call DOM traversing, and you're able to traverse a DOM. So okay, I want to manipulate this DOM. I want to change the style of this DOM. I want to do a lot of things about this DOM. For example, now we have something we call .text content. You can modify the book and say the set attribute. You can do a lot of things with a lot of things that have to do with DOM elements. So, and that would kind of the understanding of the DOM and the event that can be passed to it and the properties will determine how good you are when it comes to handling all these things. You understand? So then we talk about event handling. So we talk about the event, we talk about the click events, talk about the on blur, on click. So the click event that we talk about is about click. It's very simple. You have your mouse. When your mouse click on something, what should happen? So how do I know that you click on something? I think I did an example the other time. Let's see if we can do an example with very small stuff. Okay, let's see if we can do an example here. Okay, cool. Okay, let's run this index page. So when you click on this, let's see what happens. So let's see what happens if you click on this one. Let's see. Let me see what will happen. Let me do this one. So I will show you what happened here right now. You can see. So the click event is just an event. What does it do is that an event listener listen to events. For example, let's do an example now. If in your car, not for we bad thing, no, you know there's something they call airbag that will crash. One of them an heavy hit. That means if you hit your car bam on an heavy brick like this now, your this thing will smash. Meaning that that's what we call in JavaScript we have something we call event listener. You understand? Let me go and simplify this guy. Undefined background column. Let me go and simplify this guy. I think. Let me simplify this guy. Let me simplify this guy by just putting ordinary alert. Alert. Okay, button click. Okay, cool. So let me remove this guy. Let me just put I'll just alert. Okay, cool. So let me refresh that page. Alert. So when I click on this one, sorry, it has changed to console. I want to do alert. Alert is much better. Sorry. I'm trying to put alert. So console.log worked, as you can see. So this is console.log that we are having, but I want alert. So click on this button. Something will alert and something clicked. How does it know? Where your car knows that you have bashed your car on something that is heavy. So how does your car now say that you are behind blind spot and begin to blink your ass? A car is coming beside you, cannot see you. Blink is because that's an event listener. Something is always watching out for something to happen, to trigger something. You understand? Your page is waiting for you to just click. Now, when it's clear, what happened? An event is fired. When an event is fired, what happened? Okay, what's the type of event that is fired? He said the event that is fired is what? Event that is fired is what? Is a click event that was fired. Okay, click event that is fired. What was it fired on? That means that he said I should look for a button call with ID call read me. That means that this is the only button that is there. So if you have 55 of those buttons call read me, you will only take the last one. It will neglect the other ones and just take the last one. So, and I say, okay, what will happen? Okay, if I attach an event listener on it, an event should listen. What event we should listen to? A click event. That means whenever there's a click on the page, what should happen? It should go and traverse the DOM and look for this item. I say, okay, what happened? You have clicked on me. What do you want me to do? I want you to say alert, I'm clicked. And that's why you have this one that I say, okay, I click on read more and they say button clicked. So this is what you call the event listener. So the event listener is just waiting for you to just say, okay, I'm waiting for this event to happen. And when this event happens, so what should happen next? For example, let's say I'm typing on a form now. I'm typing on a form, and all of a sudden, I just remove my mouse. Okay, what can I do? I can watch out for mouse out. I can watch out for unblur. What does unblur tell me? Unblur tell me that okay, the mouse that was there before has left. If it's my select, I can say I'm looking for change event. That means I've changed a value. What should happen? So if I move my mouse on unblur, what should not happen? Okay, maybe I'm typing a password. I say, okay, let me see the value of what has been typed. Oh, this value is incorrect. A password must have X, Y, and Z. Or for example, let's say I'm trying to choose a username on TikTok. As you are typing this one, I'll be looking at you. The moment that you remove your mouse, it will automatically go and search and say, oh, this username exists. How did he know? How did he know? Through event listener. You understand? So event listener is self-explanatory, just saying that there's an event that listens. I'm an event and I listen. What do I listen to? I'm an event and I listen. What do I listen to? I listen to unblur. That means whenever somebody is typing in a text box and they remove their mouse, what am I going to do? I'm going to capture the value. And I'm going to use the value to do what? To go and search my database and say, okay, does this username exist? If it exists, I say, okay, it exists. So assist 345 exists. Oh yeah, choose another username. So those are kind of the ways that we listen to our event listener. So example of this is what we have here. I will say you can modify the DOM by trying to change the text. Let me give you an example. When you click on a button to submit a form, it changes to loading. What does it happen? Because somebody has already called a property of the button called let's do an example. I think we can do an example here. Let's do an example here. So I can copy this one now and say, whenever you click on this button, okay, let's do something like this. So I think this one example is very easy for us. So now, whenever I click on this button now, the text will change. You click me, and the background will change, and the text will change. Let's go and try it out now. You'll see. So these are kind of the simple example, but we can combine this example together to make complex solution. So I click on this button now. It said click me. Oh, sorry. What did it say? Cannot undefined background column coming. What happened here? Coming up. Tracker here. Okay. Let me put the button here. Let me see if I can pass the value from outside. Let me see. Okay, you can see. So you click me. So it has changed. The color has changed immediately. The text has changed to click me. The style has changed. Background style has changed to this color, and it has changed to one. Now the button is disabled. So now let me take your mind through something. So if you are working on a form, you're submitting a form. What does that mean? That means that I don't want somebody to click the form 2 times. There are two ways of doing it. So if you are doing it in advance, they call it idempotent key. That means that for every form you submit that form with a key. So if I'm trying to submit that form again, the backend will check if that key already exists. If it already exists, it tell you that it's a double submission they're trying to do. So that way, it won't allow you to submit that form 2 times. So other ways I can do it is that you are going to automatically disable the button. That means that this person cannot. Let me give you an example. People use it in fintech app very well to withdraw. Now, sometimes you want to withdraw on fintech app. If it's not requiring to auto, you can click it 3 times. It has happened. And if the backend is not strong enough, I don't know if it's amateur that the people probably say if it's all this bootstrapping something that happened. If it's all this bootstrapping something that happened, you realize that what will happen is that if all the people that happen is that somebody has withdrawn, somebody has 10K in their account, and they are withdrawn 55,000 because the person that does not search for this condition. So these are the way the hacker used to hack the account. So if the person at the back does not have sense, somebody can click on the button, and the withdrawal will just be coming. And end of the day, how much do you have your account? You have 10K, and now you are having 50K now to withdraw. Now it's okay. Yes, should come and arrest you for where? So on top of 50K. So at the end of the day, let's say it's about billions. And all those one, how the bank want to do it? Maybe you have traveled to Dubai or you have traveled to Ghana. Where would they want to go and see you and do all those ones? So it's the outlaw. So for developer that develop that code will forever be haunted. It will be sacked. It will be locked up in prison. It will be tortured, and it will even refund the money with time. So that's why we have to understand the fact that as we are developing our app, even we say that develop, we have to be very careful. don't develop an app blindly. Oh, AI can now develop an app now. I can give AI my app, it will do it 2 times. If you don't work, go and do it now. By the time somebody order for one thing and they pay for one thing and they click it 75 times and they only pay once, then you will know. By the time you are delivering, you just say, this person paid 10,000. Why is it coming to? And the funny thing is that if you have gone to fulfillment, and nobody is trying to check the payment, then the problem is that the fulfillment has already received the order 7 times, they will send it to the person. Whereas the accounting will be having problem. Accounting recorded 5,000 for one item. The people that are in charge of the fulfillment, they are delivering 7 items worth as 5,000. There's somebody that is in charge of inventory said that is now low on inventory. Okay, people that do the account now said, okay, we are run out of stock. How much have we made? How is this item missing on the cart? How did it happen? Because the person that is developing the application does not have money. Understand that? How will I make this application to work? The only way I can make this application to work for me is the fact that I have to understand how does this thing works. If somebody click on a particular link a time, he send a request. If I click on that request multiple times, it goes multiple times. How can I prevent that event from happening? Number one is by disabling the button. When the request has gone, you disable your button. Number two is that you generate a key. They call it a depoted key. That means that if somebody refresh the page again, as long as they keep refreshing the page, there's only going to be only one key that's going to be doing the job for them. So nobody can make 2 requests at the same time. If it's identical, the key will say, okay, this key is identical. So that's the way you have to understand your DOM, event listener, and everything like that. So the common mistake that people also having is that people have event.prevent default, right? So which is more like it prevents the code from actually automatically running loading the page before submitting it, which is not really a bad thing. But the important thing is that you have to sanitize your code. How to sanitize your code and understand your code very well. So don't just say, oh, this one. So how can you create a simple to-do list application by using user to add items to a list? Mark as complete and remove them. So let's do so and then blend necessary DOM. So now engagement tips now say that if you are going to create a simple to-do application by allowing user to add items to a set list, mark them as complete and remove them. Have students follow along and implement the necessary DOM. Now let's see if we can use our assistant to do this one now. We want to generate a code to do this one in JavaScript, right? So let's use assistants to do all those ones. So use my teaching assistant to do that. So we'll see how we can create a simple to-do list, right? So let's use AI to do that one rapidly. So let's see if our AI is capable enough to give us this code. We can just copy paste and see how it works, right? So we are not going to use that base here. We're going to okay. So this is our simple to-do list. Then I'm going to explain to you how it works. So this is JavaScript. This is the HTML. Let's go and copy this one and call it to do. So I said one of the best things you can have is having Learncast as a means of training your staff or doing your training. Because this AI teaching assistance is just crazy. It gives you everything that you need to do. So you don't need to go and scout for code and scout for whatever anywhere. So let's come here now and do HTML. Come in. I think we have just 12 minutes, but I will try my best to finish up this one. So let's say this one is to-do.js, right? So I'll come to paste this code here. That's the code. No, let me do my not doc type. Not doc type. Not doc. Let me see. Let me do my HTML. Something I'm looking for. Not doc type. Okay. I'm looking for not doc type. Where's my to do? No. It's to do.html that I'm looking for, not to do.js. So to do.html, that's good. So maybe that's why it's not answering me. Not doc type. Where are you? Okay, I'm coming. Let me see. Okay, I find it. Not doc type. HTML. Okay. Okay, that's fine. So he has given me a sample code. So what I need, I'll just remove this one from here. I remove this one from here. So sometimes you don't have to memorize all these things. So you don't have to memorize it. So I'm going to have my body. After my head, I can have my body now. So let me have my body. Okay, I've seen you. So I'm going to paste this one here. He's trying to show himself. So this is the body that we have. Then we can format it. Let me see if we can format this guy. Format document. So okay, go away. So we have this now. Then I tell you this, we can have a JavaScript added here. So a JavaScript is added here, and let me, okay, cool. So in our script we have JavaScript. So it should be between our body and this one. So let's go and copy this code from here. Let's see if it's able to add that. So we're going to copy this guy from here and paste it here. So let's see. And we'll explain some concept that we use here so that you can also learn from it. So this is our code, our to-do list, right? So now let me explain from what we're trying to do. So here now we are saying, okay, you need to have like H2. You need to have like to do. You have an input called input test, right? You have like a button. Now, I said we have const the other time. What is the work of const? Const is a value that can never change, but it's a way of collecting data. So we said, okay, get element by ID to do input. It's talking about this guy. That means whatever I type here, collect it, it should be stored here. So this one is referencing this one. I say, okay, add button. That's the button that you click. Then this is the UL, LI, they call it another list. That means the list are not supposed to be in any order, right? So here we now say, okay, like I've said the other time, we said we'll do something we call what? We call it what? We call it click event. That's another event listener. We'll talk about another event listener. Then we'll now talk about event listener. Then we'll now talk about, okay, if we talk about event listener, what should happen? Then here we can create, so once there are two ways of creating stuff. We can decide to create all these HTML through JavaScript by trying. So there are sometimes that you have to practically create them because you create them on the fly. Now let's see the way this one works. So what happens now is that whenever you're working with array, you can use your, so this to do right now, let's show you what to do is coming from. So this to do now comes from this li. That means that we can append or prepend. So append and prepend means that it's not talking about stack and queue. You append something to something and you prepend. So that's, you append something to something. That means you can be adding to it. But if you prepare, that means you can add it on top. Append means that you're adding it to the bottom. You understand? So that means that whenever somebody click on this one, it's going to create an append it directly to it. So let's see how this one will work right now. Which is our to do. So let's go back here and see if we can run our to do app. That's a to do HTML. That's beautiful. So let's have to do is that wash my clothes. Wash my clothes. I have my to do. You see now, I will say mop the floor. Is here. So what you have here now is that it's a basic JavaScript and HTML. What HTML does is that HTML gives you this small content for you to have a view. So now there's no styling. You can add styling later. So, but what we used to interact with this thing is that we use JavaScript to say, okay, if I add this, what should happen? It should append it to this object because everything in JavaScript is an object. Even your string in JavaScript is an object. So that means that if I have this element I call li here, I want to prepare this li and appending to this to-do list. So that is exactly where our DOM actually works. You understand? So let's go back to our teaching plan now. So that's why creating a simple to-do list. You understand? So the to-do list now is to help us to understand the concept of DOM traversing and working with event listener. You understand? So that is our, where is it? So okay, cool. So we have our event listener. We have our, where is my lesson? Okay, yeah. So we have demonstrated a lot of things here, different between test content and inner HTML. Okay, cool. So inner HTML, test content, inner HTML belongs to, I think it belongs to like when I'm working with a string or something like that. I don't know. So when modify element context, the inner HTML sets content. So, but the thing is that in HTML, you still have to find a way to sanitize it or whatever. So, DOM manipulation and event handler is the fundamental skill of building interactive user interface. So you can build a game with it. If you understand, people build 2D games with HTML and JavaScript. They build a lot of games because you already know what you want to do. You can use your interactivity to do a lot of things. You can create like a lotto. You can create like a betting website. You can create a lot of things if you understand the way your DOM actually works. So, let's briefly talk. Our time is gone already. We have 6 minutes left, so we still have some questions to ask. So now we have our simple page application, like I explained, that is React, whatever. So we're not going to go into that. So all these React, whatever, they are built on top of JavaScript as well. So where we are able to talk about our functions, async, whatever. So now I'm waiting for, so let's go to Q&A on this topic. I think we have covered a lot of this here. So please, let's go on Q&A. Does anybody have any question on this thing? So we talk about a lot of things. Like, I'm open to any. Does anybody have any question right now? Uma, do you have any question? Peter, any question? Does anybody have any question? Can you hear me, guys? Does anybody have any?
Can you get it? Hello?
Yeah, can you?
Hello? Can you
Can hear you. Do you
listen?
have any question? I'm listening.
Hello,
Yes,
are
I'm
you
hearing
hearing
you.
me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes,
Yes, I
I
can
just
hear you.
want to ask if this video will be available for revision, if somebody can watch
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
this
Yeah,
training again.
it will be available. Definitely, it will be available. So after this course, I said that is automatically
Okay.
flow to this one, or I do it myself manually. So it's going to be available for a watch. I think this is one of the
Okay.
most comprehensive videos that I've done. So it's
Yes,
comparison with
yes,
one and
yes,
two.
that's
You
right.
understand? So I'm going to put it
Yeah,
there
yeah.
for people that have interest to come and
Okay.
watch it, and you understand. So and
Okay.
so this is just a way of you to understand the basics. So in this one, we don't have the AI telling us, but we're able to merge one and two together to understand the way. So if you understand HTML, understand your job is your job, and you know how to do your job. Everything about life is very simple. So it makes our life so much easy for us to understand. So, but without understanding dumb manipulation is going to be difficult for us to understand. So that's why we are going to hang up this call for today. Uma, please, do you have any question? Are you following us in the class? Do you have any question? Hello, can you hear me, Uma? Can you hear me? All right. Okay. All right. Can you hear me? Do you have any question? All right, cool. So I think the recording is going to be there for everybody to actually watch.